I've been learning the guitar for 5 months now, and this is everything I've learned in month 5. Week 1. I started the month with an extreme amount of inspiration, and I started the first week by writing a new song. It took me 2 days. I did a whole video about it, which I will link. This gave me an opportunity to put a lot of the things that I had already learned into practice. So for the intro, I wrote 2 guitar pieces over each other that harmonized with each other and worked well together. I also played around with rhythms, different rhythms. I don't think I have all the vocabulary to be able to explain exactly what I did, but I started off with like everything being on the beat, 1 beat per note or 1 beat per strum, and then I made it swing, so you'd hold on. I guess it would be like a dotted note if it was written, so you'd hold on before changing to the next note. And I messed around with this, like you can see the different rhythms in that song, and that is something that like I still need to work on my articulation of what I've actually done there, but I know that it just makes it more interesting than having all the rhythm the exact same throughout the entire song, so that was really fun. I also wrote this riff. I did it all in drop D. I know that it was in 4/4, so this is just knowledge that is coming to the forefront of stuff which I can articulate now, which was a big part of why I wanted to learn a little bit about theory. The part that I was most proud of in terms of guitar was the intro, because I essentially used a variation of a broken chord on a bar in drop D to be able to create that. Also, just being able to put a whole arrangement together on the guitar is just huge for me. It's something that is giving me such hope for how I can build and how I am building my knowledge and my practical application of that knowledge to be able to come up with something original. I was really pleased with how it turned out. I enjoyed writing this so much that I essentially just spent the rest of the week just practicing it and fiddling around with it and just having fun with it. Week 2. I spent basically the rest of the month on Fender Play, and they updated their look. I think it looks a little more classy, you know? It's fewer blocks of green and more kind of white and black with like little accents of green. It's kind of turquoisey green. I kind of dig it. So I spent the first part just like learning about reading rhythm, which is like dots and ties on the notations like this. They're tied together, so essentially you don't strum the second one, you just hold on. This is something that I have had some experience from in the past when I learned how to play the piano, but it's been a really long time since I've done any reading music. And it looks slightly different on tab. Like tab is something that is new to me, even if the concepts are just a refresher for me. I've always struggled to read music, particularly when it comes to sight reading. I just dread the stuff. So being able to approach this at my own pace and calmly and quietly and slowly has been great. It still hasn't 100% clicked to me, like the difference between reading something and knowing it in theory and actually the practical application of it. That for me, I think will come with time, because for me, I have like this distance, this separation between reading the notes and like having the understanding of what it means, but then having the experience of what that actually sounds like and how to actually play it. There is a bit of a disconnect with me. It hasn't like clicked straight away, and I struggle with it a little bit. It's not the whole goal of why I'm learning guitar, but I do think it's good to have this like base knowledge, because as you saw with week 1, I wrote things, I knew that it sounded differently. I wouldn't know how to explain that to someone else without showing them, and I think learning about this kind of thing, about dots and ties and syncopation, will be able to give me the language to be able to share my ideas with other people, and that's part of what I'm doing here. Nobody puts baby in the corner. Week 3. In week 3 I learned about syncopated strumming, and this was a massive challenge for me. I knew that rhythm was going to be a challenge for me. I've never found it that easy.
Now let's apply that strumming pattern to the entire progression.
The thing that I struggle with is keeping my hand going, but not playing every stroke, if that makes sense. Strumming down and then up, and then missing the downstroke, and then strumming up. And in theory, I get it, you see? I can articulate that to you. Something that I really did do this month, which I haven't done in previous months, is I really took my time with it, because I knew I was finding it difficult, and so I didn't want to rush through things that will hold me back if I don't take the time on them that I need to take on them. Different people find different things easy, right? And I find learning things by ear much easier than a lot of people. But strumming, rhythm, is just one of those things that I have to work a little bit harder on. The same with reading music. Just work that little bit harder on, take that little bit extra care and time on. Don't rush through it. Don't like worry about the fact that like it's difficult. Just, you know, I'm just being patient with myself with these things, because I know I'm finding it difficult, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? And if I rush through it, I will never be able to do it properly, you know? So take my time. Slowing down. Chord anticipation is something else that I did in week 3. And yeah, so I did a lot of work with rhythm and different things that are quite common in songs regarding the rhythm part. Week 4. In week 4, I put a lot of these techniques together by learning One Way or Another by Blondie. It was so much fun. I did it all through the Fender Play app, but they show you the notation and then they walk you through it essentially. The other thing I looked at in week 4 was hammer-ons, pull-offs and trills. This is stuff that I've been instinctively putting into stuff that I've written and stuff that I've been learning and stuff I've been figuring out and just like playing around with it. But it is good to be able to give these things a name, and it's something that is quite unique to stringed instruments, I think. You can't really do a hammer-on or a pull-off in the same way on piano, for example. So it's fun to be able to dive into something that is, you know, something kind of unique. In the same way that bending strings is something that you can't do on piano, like you can do it on a guitar. So getting those unique sounds out of the guitar because it is a guitar, that was really cool. So yeah. Shout out to the Fender Play app. If you're interested in learning through Fender Play yourself, then there is a link in the description. There's a link to the video about the song I wrote in the description too. And I will be here next Sunday for more about my music journey, and I'll be here next month for my next month's guitar progress video. So I'll see you then. It was a lot of fun.